Before Pastor Mwaura answer, just give me my. So there's something you said about men thinking they don't have peace at home, and I've had this a lot, where there's the nagging bit, and by the way, throughout my marriage, I've also learned that men hate to be nagged. They don't like it. It's one thing that they really hate. And so yes, this could be a reason as to why I'm ugly feel, I'm being nagged at home. Kuna siasa tu mob. I just want my peace, But I always ask myself, when you're dating, and you're in an argument. You've had an argument. You're dating this girl. You want this girl. You want to marry her. You have had an argument. What is the approach? Usually, as a man, you become the bigger person automatically. You ordinarily, you don't even want to call, but you're like, what? I'm going to call this girl. I'm going to text her. Let's meet. Let's discuss this. You become the bigger person.
Yes.
So I always ask myself, isn't this the same person? It is the same person. I mean, so what has changed? Because
what happened?
we are now married, but you're saying there's no peace at home.
Yes.
But it's the same concept. Even when we were dating, there was no peace. Okay, maybe there was no home, but there was no peace. etc. And so what makes what makes men change to be that person to refuse to become the bigger person?
Yes.
Because we get tired as women to become the bigger people. Yes.
I think we should always learn to take responsibility. Maybe I can, because I'm a pastor, let me share a story from the Bible. In the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 6. There's a story that happens there about David and his wife. His wife was called Michal, and David goes out there and fights and brings the Ark of the Covenant back to Jerusalem, and there's great rejoicing in this city. People are so happy that finally the Ark of the Lord has come back to us. And so David blesses his people, gives them raisins, gives them cakes and all that, and then decides to go home and also bless his home. But a few verses before that, it's written that Michal saw David dancing and rejoicing, and she looked from a window. So she was not part of the big celebrations. And the Bible says a word there that sent shiver down my spine, says that, and Michal, daughter of Saul, despised David in her heart. So all these things, I think, they stem from the heart. You look at your spouse and you have completely despised. Before you come and say something that is hurtful to your spouse, whether your husband or your wife, the thing is this, that you are so indifferent, emotions have died in your heart, and you are not moved. You are not moved by anything. That's why you find even men or women even going to the extent of killing their spouse. I think we need to go back and see where is my heart. Where are we at? And when we be able to evaluate where our hearts are, then we can be able to know the right mechanisms or how to go, so that we can be able to heal and to mend. Those deep emotions which could be hurtful in one way or another. So the other thing I think that happens is losing interest. You asked about, there's something that you asked.
I asked why they don't, why during dating, they are at a place of being the bigger person, and if we have an argument, they will be like, they're the ones who will come and say, I'm sorry.
Yes.
But that diminishes in marriage, where, they're not very quick to say sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah?
And again, also, it goes back to cultural and social nurturing that we have experienced, in the sense that if a marriage breaks, in our African setting, it's most likely that the wife, if the wife packs, she's the one on the wrong. And all that. So the guy doesn't have much to lose. But in dating, is it my skills my skills are you get cochini and all that. You get, but I brought her here and all that. So I don't have much to I don't have much to lose. Then there's this burden, cultural burden. The wife should stick around. There are children to take care of and all that. So the husband feels I don't have much responsibility to healing our marriage. And so I think those are some of the things that happens. So what's the cure for that? Working with each other. You get, there's for me, I have decided to always look at my wife and tell myself that this girl is beautiful. She's attractive. You get, and over time, you get. For me, I think I'm. For me, I don't think I know that I'm married the most beautiful girl. Because I always have to tell her and to assure her. You get, each and every time. And when I assure her, what happens is that I also actually what I've said is really true. So we need to be at that place of cultivating friendship, working with each other, you get, and being able to celebrate each other, and understanding that we are very, very different. Because one of the things that happens in dating and all that is that you find opposite attracts. You get, opposite attracts. She's like this, he's like this, and because we are different, then we are a power couple. You get. Then over time, then opposite attracts. Then it starts distracting you. You get. I loved the way he works. He is a hard worker. Then opposite. I'm not hardworking, so to speak, but he's hardworking. Then so opposite attracts. Then after a while, it starts distracting you. You get, hey, and I spend time kwa office, taking a lot of time. You get, yes, and all that. Then if you're not careful, then you start attacking each other based on that. You get, opposite attracts, distracts, then attacks. You always spend time at the work. You don't care for us, or the husband will complain about something else. You don't care. You want to kill me. I don't see even myself being with you for, I don't, you get, and something like that. So you have to be careful and go back to the things that really attracted us to our spouses, and knowing that if we invest in those things, then we are going to thrive in our marriages, in our relationships. Because one of the things that I've found in my pastoral ministry experience is that there are some people that I know that their marriages didn't work. Then they have gotten married. And I have seen them struggling from where they stopped with their previous marriage. You get. So the other wife used to complain about, or the husband used to complain about communication. You still find that again. The second one. So you think you only enjoy this thrill for a few or for a couple of years, then you start finding that you're struggling actually with the same thing. The thing is this: if one is struggling in their marriage, please deal with them. Work them out. You get, because the option that you're seeing outside there is a very, very expensive option. You don't need to pour your resources there. You get, pour your resources and your time on this relationship that you are in, and then from there you're going to have more harvest. You're going to have more benefits than again starting again and then finding yourself gridlocked at the place that you stopped last time.
Let me bring up, because I know we don't have much time today. Let me bring. I wanted to tackle technology, because I also feel as though it's something which has really, it's like a catalyst, for this, big elephant in the room, infidelity, and the fact that our phones are now private. They are private. You can store whatever you want to store there, and of course, if there's no one checking your phone, you have that freedom. It's your phone. There's the delete option as well. So you can even have things on your phone, and if someone looks at it, you will delete those things. So I feel as though also technology has come into play, in terms of, but where do we also draw the line? Because there's a lot. In fact, when we look at the pros and the cons, I feel as though technology is one of the things that really has also brought marriages down.
Yeah, true.
When we look at boundaries, at where do we draw the line? How do I, if I want to take my husband's phone, like we all have passwords. Like I have a password on my phone, but my husband knows my password. You understand? But sometimes you'll find even your husband has a phone, but you don't know the password, or vice versa, basically. But where do we draw that line in terms of, do I sit back and be like, you know what, I trust him, he can never do anything, in this marriage that would be, not right. So you just trust him, leave him with his phone. Is that the way, what is the ideal thing, in marriages? Maggie, as a woman, does it pain you? Or rather, what, like when a husband has a password, wouldn't it be better if we just shared phones? Like, yeah, you can take my phone. I have nothing to hide. You understand? and why, also because I feel as though, there's a lot of chatting. Yeah, which we are saying leads to infidelity. Like where do we draw the line? Also as women, especially as women, where do we draw the line? Like when you're told hi, do you respond with I am married? Yes, I am married. This is so me. No. Yes, how do we draw that line? Do I respond? Do I carry it on? Where do I feel as though, this is it now? This guy, where he's becoming too much. What am I keep, And probably this is someone you work with, so you also don't want to look like okay, fine, you're married. Yes, So how do you tackle this?
Honestly, that's a hard one because technology for sure has become a catalyst of so many things, and you can relate with someone very comfortably on phone, and without knowing you, that relationship has already extended. And honestly, to know the boundary, it has to be a very personal choice, and it goes back to what is the voice that is speaking loudest, and what is the voice that you're listening to, because it's sweet sometimes to chat, and to be honest, it's sweet to be told things on phone, and at times you also go beyond the boundary, and probably your husband does not chat you that way, and you realize, wow, kumbe somebody actually thinks, there are people out there who have lines, and these lines, man, the last time I had these lines was when that was 10 years ago, and I'm like, okay, so you want to stop, but at the same time, probably also the other person is also at a place where they also need someone to chat with. So it becomes a tricky balance, to be honest. That's a weakness, I can attest. And I think, may God help us, honestly.
I think that we are just scratching the surface here with the issue of technology.
Right.
The foundational thing is how was our marriage established? The place, going back, for me and my wife Joanne, and I know she'll be watching this, we don't have issues with the phones. We've never struggled with the phones. But we go back to how did we find our relationship? How was our relationship established in this sense? If, for example, I have ever been in a past relationship and maybe someone became unfaithful, you get, and I found out, even maybe in dating, you get, then I come and, I find a girl here and who has never struggled, you get, I'll always respond, or I'll always act with the past, because people, the present triggers the past. You get, the present triggers the past. So maybe if I see my husband has, or my wife has now perhaps added a password, then I start responding to the past. You get. So you need to ask yourself, as a husband or a wife, have I ever been hurt? You get. What is my greatest fear? And be able to individually deal with that before you even come to this place of technology. Then one of the things that I've found is that if I were to quantify marriages, I've seen multi-billion marriages, so to speak, being destroyed by like a 5K gadget. I mean, you had so much to gain other than just letting this phone be able to ruin your relationship. People, especially when someone says that my phone is private, I have issues with that, whether they are unfaithful or not. I have issues with that because there's no way this phone, which is a 5K, 10K gadget, I can see that it's very, very private, and that I can't even let my wife touch it, and yet she has given me her life. She has given me her life. not even that, you look foolish because you're sleeping next to someone. I always say, you're sleeping next to someone. You get? And you're assured that they are not going to stab you in the middle of the night. You're going to wake up alive the next day. You know that they are going to give you food or they are going to pay rent, but you can't trust them with a phone. In the book of Genesis chapter 2, it's written that and the man and the woman, they were naked and they felt no shame. Nakedness in this sense, maybe they were physically naked, but also it shows that there is no barrier. There is nothing that can come in between us. When people hide their passwords, there is something that they're hiding. There is a secret that they're hiding. And the devil, by the way, thrives in secrecy.
Devil came with passwords.
He came with passwords, by the way. He thrives there. You get? But not only that, we also have to go to the place of asking ourselves, because there's some people who, the phone, yes, it's there, but they always maybe delete.
Right.
M-Pesa messages, I've sent someone messages. You have to delete so that your spouse is not going to see. And my encouragement would be, have an honest conversation with yourself. A marriage takes two, and the approach is that we have to be, we should be trusting and we should be honest. There should be honesty and trust. Honesty is where I have to contribute information into the marriage. I have to share all the secrets and bring them on the table and say 1, 2, 3. Based on that information that I have provided, then my spouse is the one to be able to perhaps to decode, can I trust or can I not trust? So trust is not about me. It's not for me. The moment that you say that my wife trusts me, you know that no. Even if someone approaches you and tells you they're giving you you have given them a task, then someone tells you, trust me, you start having doubts. You get it's what they have done, how you have seen them walking and doing things, then you'll be able to know this one can't be trusted. So trusting is not about me. It's about the other person to trust me. Right. All I need is to volunteer information that will help them be able to judge are they trusting. And some of the things that we trust our spouses about, actually they are sometimes you hear a wife telling the husband, my husband, I believe you can do 1, 2, 3. And the husband is left thinking, no, I can't do that. I'm not Bill Gates. I cannot be able to do all that. But the wife, because of how she has seen and the information that they have, she has known that this one I can trust to do this. And they push you. The same way as a husband. So we need to have that honest conversation. Is there anything that I'm hiding? Is there anyone that I'm hiding and protecting, and be able to bring it on the table? Some of these things, especially if it concerns another man or a woman, maybe it might hurt my spouse big time. So I need to share it with someone else. Marriage is very, very private, very, very private. It takes two, but it thrives within a community. You get? So if maybe there's someone that is bothering me, and I know that if I share with my wife at the moment, she's not at that place, because I always tell people that time and place gives you the context to share. You get? If my wife is pregnant and all that, and she's not feeling beautiful about herself, then I come and tell her, by then Nani and Nani wanted, they've been sending me messages here. She's not at the right place to be able to think, no, I have to, maybe I can share it with another man, you get, and the same thing on her side. Right. Maybe a man doesn't have a job. It's not the time to say that the CEO of what I know is hitting on me. You get, the guy will be so vulnerable, but you can share it, yes, but you can be able to share it with someone else who can be able to help you. So marriage is very private, takes two, but thrives within a community. And so let us open up with people who we love and people who care about our marriages. The marriages that struggle most and the many which crashes, you always find that they are just the two of them. They don't have other people around them. So we need to do that, but also be able to ask ourselves, am I honest enough? What is it that I've hidden in my heart? Then when you be able to perhaps to talk that out, then you're going to have some light even in the marriage. That's my 2 cents in that.
All right, so I want to just wrap this up, because we can't exhaust infidelity. It's something, it's so wide, and it's so wide, and I actually want to have a part 2 of this, of infidelity, just probably with the same people and with others, just to hear different opinions on why is there a rise in infidelity. But even as we wrap it up, like I'd want to also hear from the two of you. What is that point of, there's someone out there who has been cheated on, not once, not twice, probably severally, yeah? And they wonder where to begin. They wonder, where do I go from here? How do I stay? Because there's so much that is within the marriage. I remember before I got married and before many of my friends got married, some of the things we would discuss would be some of the reasons why you would leave your husband. And so, this was unanimous that if someone cheated on me, I would just walk away. I'd pack my things and I'd go. And I've often asked myself the same question now that I am married, and so many things come into play. There's children. Will you wake up and leave your children? There is that. There is what you're tied to. There's so much. We have parents who know you're married. So how do you communicate that to them? So there's so much that comes on with marriage, and that prevents, of course, people walking away from their marriages. And so I always wonder, what is it? What is that message for that woman or that man who is there? Probably just give your take on where do they begin? How do you restore hope to these people who are out there and probably someone has cheated on them? Yes. Yes.
What I would like to say is there's still hope, and a day brings its own brightness. Every day is new, and you may be that heartbroken because of what has happened to you or what happened, and you've tried everything. But I want to believe that through prayer and through support, things can change, and your husband or your wife can change their attitude, especially if it's them cheating. They can change their attitude, and someone can speak to them something that can make them change and renew your marriage, and you start all over again. Because I believe once we have been in love, we can always get back to that state. We can always start again as friends, and we can always forgive each other. And this would not require only you to just die alone. You'll require support. So get help, talk to a friend who can talk to a counselor, and let them help you walk the journey. Because I wouldn't encourage anyone to leave their marriage without trying everything else, As much as it's hard, there's still some hope. That is what I would say. Yeah, through support, through prayer, there's always some hope. Yeah.
All right. Pastor Mwaura, as we wrap up, tell us, very briefly, what, like, for that person who has, she's mentioned prayer, and prayer is a powerful thing. But from where I come from also, I know that there are so many women out there who have prayed.
Yeah.
And one thing I know about God is that, God is also very intentional. And even as we pray and we ask for these things, there is, our thoughts are not his thoughts, and the way we think, of course you want to tell God, by the way, my husband is cheating. I really want that girl out of his life completely. May you demolish that immediately, and you want tomorrow to wake up to your husband with all these sweet things. But sometimes it doesn't happen that way. And sometimes it takes long. Yeah. There are men who have, there are people who have struggled with infidelity for probably 10 years, more years than you can ever imagine. And so what do you tell that person, who has prayed until their voice has gone? Okay. How do you give them hope?
I think the first thing is to tell them, and this is based on what I've seen, especially with working with couples who have experienced that breaking of trust in their marriages. Number one is at first they really blame themselves. They do blame themselves, and the burden of blame really pulls them down. There is, when you investigate clearly, there is need for you to perhaps sit down and see that this is beyond me. You get? There's nothing else that I would have done.
Different.
You get? If someone, whether a wife or a husband, has not made that personal commitment not to sway off from their commitment, then there's nothing that you can be able to do. Okay, this is even Job said that I have made a covenant. It's I who has made a covenant with my eyes, God, not to look at a woman and lust. You get, so there has to be that personal commitment. But if someone doesn't have that, and you have prayed, and you have prayed and you have waited for this daybreak when this person will stop, these behaviors and all that, the first thing is not to burden yourself with the blame. You get, and when you do that, you start finding or seeing some hope. The other thing is not to really back immediately and perhaps process that divorce immediately. Although you are at a place of, if you are the one who is the heart spouse, even for Christians, we know that even Jesus said that marital unfaithfulness can warrant a divorce.
Right.
You get, and actually, if you share it out there in the social media, you say that my husband or my wife cheated against me, so you look good. You get, you're not going to look bad, and people will be on your side. Pack your bags and do what? And go. But may I encourage someone to pursue something bigger than doing the right thing. And that is a place of being able to extend grace to the person who has been hurt. And perhaps we'll talk more about that. How do you heal from marital unfaithfulness? If you are especially the hurt spouse, how do you proceed from there?
Yes.
You extend grace. Grace is being able to say that, what, I'm not going to punish you because of you deserve me to leave this place, for me to go and start my own life and to leave you and all that. But grace calls me to be able to be here. You get to stay in here. But grace has components, as Maggie has said, components of hope. You get, you cannot be able to do that without hope.
Yes.
And also having a community around you also does help. The thing is this, that husband and wife, they have to understand that unfaithfulness really hurts. You get, deeply, whether you are a man or a woman.
Or a woman, yes.
That also it costs. You get, it also costs. But there is hope, and I have seen, by God's grace, couples who have gone through that journey, and on the other end, they have thrived in their marriages, their healing has been sought, and they are achieving their God-given mandate in their marriage. So they are all is not lost. All is not lost. And perhaps to be able to tell that person who has been doing that more often, repeatedly and all that, that you're not doing the right thing. You get, that this thing will not end well.
Right.
You get, the investment that you pour and into these illicit relationships, and what you get, cannot be matched. Drink from your own cistern. Enjoy the wife or the husband
of your drink from your own cistern.
Yes, of your youth. And I think because no one marries a malicious spouse, you don't marry a malicious husband or a malicious wife. You can go back to the drawing board and be able to achieve that that greatness. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pastor Mwaura. Now, Reverend Mwaura. I can't stop calling you Pastor Mwaura. I need to, update my mind that it is Reverend Mwaura. So thank you for coming, and thank you for, being on this channel. You've really, really, brought, insight, to the topic, and I really appreciate your time as well. I know you're a busy man. Yes. And Maggie, for coming onto the show for a second time. This is, a great support, and so thank you so much for coming. And to the viewer, thank you for watching, for always keeping it here on Focus on Marriage and Family. So as we wind up, I want to also mention that this is Full House Studio, and the video is courtesy of Full House Studio. It is in Westlands. So if you would like to do your videos, do your pictures, this is the place to come to. As you can see, this is a wonderful, wonderful studio. So until next time, and we didn't exhaust, actually. We did not exhaust infidelity. We cannot exhaust this topic. And so I'm hoping to do a part 2. And so I just want to make sure that you're here next time when we discuss this. So until next time, bye-bye.